How you doing? Good. How are you? I'm doing good. I didn't have she's not here.
Good evening, everyone. It's now 5:30 p.m. We will now call the City of Homestead Committee of the Whole Enterprise Public Safety meeting to order. It's exactly 5:30 p.m. We have with us Councilman Tim Nelson, Councilwoman Lobos, myself, and Councilman Melvin McCormick. I will now entertain a motion to approve the May 12, 2009 minutes.
I'll second it.
That has been properly moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on the minutes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? The ayes carry. Tab 2, dissolution of certain city boards and committee ordinance combined with the amendment to certain city boards.
Second it.
The item has been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Pretty thorough. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, council members, I just wanted to know that going back before October of last year, when Mayor and council members gave us instructions to look at the boards and streamlining the operations we have in the city to be able to cover more efficient ways and save money. This is really a continuation of what happened then, and it's continuing. Now we're bringing this forward for your approval. I want to give credit to our city attorneys, in particular Matthew Barron, who is sitting there in the back there with Joanna. Matthew, you want to stand up? And Matthew did a great job here. And I know we're going to be coming with other ones in the future, like for example, you don't find the Historic Preservation Board here, because it will take more work, and we have to look at it ourselves also with the attorneys. And it's not only the board, also the bylaws there, what's included. That takes more work, but we didn't want to wait until everything is done at the same at one shot. The great thing about this ordinance you have in front of you, it listed things in the front that applies to all the boards. And then when you go under the enabling ordinance of each board, if it's going to be different than what we have in the front, then it's going to have a specific changes to the board there. So in my view, it is a great product. It's going to be administratively very easy to manage, and instead of just start. You remember when you instructed us and Sheila had started going through the code book looking for boards, and you find boards hiding somewhere. Now it's going to list it all in one area and all the bylaws in one area where it's very easy to manage.
That's good, because that's what we wanted. We really wanted consistency across the boards, consistency across all of the boards. And I think the change is good. I know there's been some controversy of late, but we have been working on these changes for many months prior to any controversy. So this is really good, and I'm sure I think everybody that's read this. Any comments or questions on the ordinances?
I do.
Oh, welcome, Councilwoman. We now have Councilwoman Walden with us.
Sorry about that. Sorry, there was a monsoon at my house. I've been very disturbed about a few things, so I have written a letter, and I'd like to put it in the record. Mayor and members of the council, I have several substantial issues with the ordinance before us today. Excuse me 1 minute. But the least of which is that I received the modified legislation at the 11th hour yesterday via email. Today, I had to cancel appointments to review the changes, and this has nothing to do with you, Sheila. I believe that full council review and full public disclosure are the only appropriate methods to conduct the public's business. What I'm seeing is a pattern that sacrifices public disclosure and awareness, and I strongly suggest that the council institute a procedure in which no legislative items be submitted to the council after the Thursday or the fourth council or a CAL meeting. And there are several issues. I don't know whether I should go into all of them, but background checks for volunteer board members to me just aren't necessary. These are volunteers. We do not even give our councilmen and women background checks, and they are the governing board of the city. Each of the boards in the ordinance deserves proper consideration that cannot occur, since they are all being considered and voted on together as one. I am also disappointed in the manner in which the former Human Relations Board was handled. I was under the impression that the Florida City's Mayor Wallace was consulted prior to the board's termination, and apparently he was not consulted. Therefore, what I thought was a bilateral decision between both mayors were not. I'm also concerned that the board's termination is viewed by many, and this really concerns me, that it's viewed by many as a retaliation for the board's position on the Confederate flag. And I know that's not true, but still, that's what it seems. The last thing in the world that I want is for the Veterans Day Parade, a 40-year-plus tradition in the city of Homestead, to disappear. It is my hope, my fond hope, that this issue will be resolved in the best interest of all concerns. So that's why I have to vote no tonight.
Thank you, Councilwoman. One of the things I'm a little confused. I don't know what the parade has to do with the Human Relations Board or any of these other ordinances, but also I can't help you can't help what the perception is in the public when you just have to do the right thing and you hope that the people understand that you're doing the right thing. This quote-unquote flag issue is 7 months old. So when was the right time? 7 months ago, 8 months ago, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago now. Okay, so we can play that game, but when was a good time? Quite frankly, 7 of the board members' terms, I will restate this again, 7 of the board members' terms had expired. I could have just simply not reappointed them and then just put new people in place. Then it would have been, Mayor Bell is not reappointing us because of retaliation. So whether we sunsetted the boards and restructured the ordinances like we have been planning to do, by the way, for months. While I didn't consult directly with Mayor Wallace about the specific issue, I wanted to respect my fellow council members and give them the consideration of a discussion with them first, because I thought it would be inappropriate, and certainly we know with sunshine laws that I shouldn't have a discussion with anybody, so I wanted to discuss it in public and have a discussion with the council, because if the council would have disagreed with it, then it was a moot point anyway. So out of respect, and by the way, I spoke with Mayor Wallace about a year ago in the summertime. It was either a Florida League of Cities Conference or an FME conference, and I shared a lot of my concerns with with Mayor Wallace at the time. And actually, I spoke with him, and Councilwoman Lopez was with me, and Mayor Wallace and I walked away to discuss the issue. And I expressed some of my concerns with him a year ago, this summer, about the fact that the City of Homestead pays 100% of the cost of the Human Relations Board, that the City of Homestead pays to staff it. The City of Homestead pays 100% of the cost of the Martin Luther King breakfast, when at times it's been $5,000 to $10,000. The City of Homestead has paid for everything. I expressed that to Mayor Wallace, and so I don't know that it should have come as a complete surprise. And going back to what the manager said earlier, the manager and I spoke, and we sent an email to Mrs. Shedd back in October of 2008. I believe it was probably a full month before we ever even had the parade, on the discussion to begin the process of getting all the board minutes, getting all the boards, what their qualification parameters were. And because I have wanted to change many of the boards from the start, and we have restructured and we have changed some of the boards. Listen, with each administration comes new changes, and sometimes those changes are tough and sometimes they're not. But, I do believe that this whole flag issue is nothing but somebody who has a politically motivated agenda. I've said it before, I will say it again. It's nothing but a politically motivated agenda, and the public is not buying it. They're not buying it one bit. So I will state that. I have read this completely. By the way, Mr. Weiss, is the actual description of the boards any different than what we got in our packets last week? The actual board descriptions? They're identical, aren't they?
No, the difference is, rather than, there was some confusion created by having two separate ordinances.
Exactly.
And so the substance of the ordinances is identical.
Right, it's exactly what we received last week. So we had all weekend long to study it.
I beg your pardon.
Thank you.
Sorry?
Excuse me, I haven't called on you, Ms. Waldman. Would you like to be recognized?
Absolutely.
You may have the floor.
It went from 30, I think it was 36 or 37 pages to 43 pages, and I was not told of the differences. No one told me of any differences, so it was line by line as far as I was concerned.
Okay, just listen,
And I don't want to debate it, but that's why.
Well, Ms. Wellman, you brought it up, so we will debate it.
Certainly.
This is the identical ordinance that we received last week in our packet, except it's the melded or the blended ordinance of the two, because there was some confusion on the separate sunsetting and then the blending. So what we did is we put it together as one ordinance. The verbiage on the ordinances is identical to what we received last week. They are. The description of the boards is the same.
Right. The reason that the number of pages went up is because we had one ordinance, which was several pages, which dealt with the dissolution of the boxing board and all of those boards, and we had a separate ordinance that dealt with the board rules and then recreating these boards. And there was some confusion, and so when you pushed the two of them together, that's when you ended up with the much larger. But in terms of, I did this myself. There's no substantive difference in terms of the powers of the board, anything at all, except for the ordinances are one ordinance as opposed to two. There's no substantive difference in them.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, council members, I just want to clarify something here. This is an ordinance, so whatever is taken tonight, this is an item for discussion tonight. There will be plenty of opportunity to vote on it twice.
Right.
So if any comments, there's also, for the public, just to say, we're doing it behind the closed scenes or something like that. It's being discussed in a public meeting today, and it's going to be discussed in two public meetings.
That's right. Thank you. Any other council members would like to speak on this issue? Thank you very much. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Let the record stand. Thank you so much. Amendment, thank you. We'll now move on to the Finance and Enterprise Committee with Councilwoman Lobos.
Thank you, Mayor Bell.
Pleasure. Oh, excuse me, Councilman Lobos, I am so sorry. I did want to comment on one other thing, and I will be more than happy to comment this on again, but you know what, never mind, I'll save it. Go ahead.
Thank you. I was just trying to find the right agenda. We're moving on to the Finance Enterprise Committee, tab 4. The first item before us is a proposal for engineering services, Miami-Dade Volume Sewer Customer Basin Level Peak Flow Modeling.
I'll move this.
Second.
Thank you. This is required of pretty much all the cities within our county. As you can see, the proposal before you, the letter from the contractor gave us a total amount for 3 phases of the work, but what is before us tonight is only phase 1. That's why the amounts are different. Is there anything else, Mr. Shahada, that you would like to add?
Madam Chair, council members, that's really all what we, you covered very well. I just want to give a little bit of background. This is going back to, I personally, before I started working for the city of Homestead in 94, I used to work in a barter program where a consortium of consultants work for the county to comply with the EPA consent agreement against Dade County for sewer flows and overflows and stuff like that. And the city of Homestead, we had our own wastewater treatment plant, self-sufficient. Now we are sending flow to the county, and because we are diverting flow to the county, we have to comply with the requirements of the consent agreement. And part of it is to do the big flow study. And yesterday when I met with the Councilwoman Lobos, she mentioned to me actually Hazel and Sawyer wrote the letter, and they still have City of North Miami Beach when they addressed it to Julio, because they did it for so many cities. And I said, really, that speaks the whole story behind this, because every single city has to do it. Julio, but they have to correct that in the future.
Any other questions or comments from council? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Tab 5, item B, is a replacement of water and electric meters inventory restock purchase.
I'll move it.
Second it.
Thank you. And this is under the City of Homestead Code exemption from competitive bidding. We're waiving competitive bidding, and the reason why we're doing that is because 75% of our current meters are with this source, and so it just makes sense that the additional ones be purchased with the same company.
Councilwoman?
Sure, Mayor Bell?
Yes, thank you. I did notice that when I was reading, and I saw that it was waived because it said that that this HD Supply is the only energy distributor for this company in Florida.
It's a sole source, yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Shahada, do you have anything to add?
Sure. Madam Chair, council members, I just want you also to know that in the past, whenever they came close to running out of inventory, they just replenish it for 25,000 or less. But we look at it how much we're going to be needing for practically the year, and that's why we're bringing it for one-time approval. You know, hopefully we exceed that amount, because if we exceed that amount, that means there's more activities in the city in terms of new construction. But that's Jerry's estimation for the year, and we don't want to just do all these things administratively. And again, we are just trying to streamline the process and make it transparent.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item C is the recycling collection trucks purchasing. We're purchasing 2.
I'll move it.
Second it.
Thank you. Staff did a very good job of putting in a formula there that pretty much explains what how we came up with a total cost of $36,000.
Excellent.
We have the purchase of the 2 trucks, which is $475,326. Then we have an allowance, which we're going to trade in 1 truck, which gives us a credit of $149,000. That's a subtotal of $326,326. And then we have a grant from DEP for $290,000. So our bottom cost is going to be $36,326.
For 2 trucks.
Anything else to add, Mr. Shahada?
Just again to add background, by the way, that's the picture of the type of truck we are getting. And the great thing about these trucks, they have dual purpose. They could be used for residential garbage collection, and also they can be used for recycling. Immediately after we bought that, a few months after we bought that old truck we have, the one we are trading in, it used to be, if you recall, the Waste Management still doing it. They come to the curbside and they have recyclable materials separated, and they put it in different compartments. After that, the Dade County switched into one single container recycling, so you dump all the recycling in one container, and it's very easy to collect, encourages recycling, therefore reduces trash collection and garbage collection. Therefore, that's why we are trading the truck to go into this type versus the old type, and of course it's less labor intensive, and of course we got the grant. That's why we're doing it this way.
Thank you, Mr. Shahada. Are there any questions or comments from council?
Excellent.
Mayor Bell?
It's excellent.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item D is bid number 200915, lubricating oils and fluids, tab 7.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Sorry, get to it. And what you see before you is a recommendation of staff of 2 vendors, going with groups 1 and 2 with Blaylock Oil Company, and groups 3 to 9, Flamingo Oil Corporation. Anything else, Mr. Shahada?
Actually, that explains it. This is a regular bid we do every single year, so we're just doing it.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Item E is an add-on to the agenda. This is a last-minute item, so this is the purchase of a tensioner and wheel carrier, which is under Addendum 1. May I have a motion?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Mr. Chihara, since this was added on at the last minute, why don't you give us a thorough presentation about it?
Actually, since I fall into the same situation, but you know, me and Barbara we're talking about it. This is really just to help staff when they are doing lines to do the, you know, use this piece of equipment to apply the proper tension, to reduce labor demands and all that stuff. This is a piece of equipment that was budgeted in the budget, and they, you know, they just find the right piece of equipment and they want to purchase it. I'm going to actually turn it over to Barbara to give you more background what they use it in the field for, if you are interested.
Go ahead, Ms. Quinones.
Thank you, Councilman Lobos and Mayor and the others on the council. This is a piece of equipment for pulling in overhead wire, and it, as the city manager mentioned, it maintains the tension on the wire and creates a safer environment and a more efficient environment for the people that are doing the work pulling in that wire. And the method that's currently being used is extremely antiquated and is not as safe as using the proper equipment. So we wanted to move forward, as he mentioned, as the city manager mentioned, this item was budgeted for this year, and we are looking to move forward with the purchase.
Thank you, Ms. Quinones. Are there any additional comments or questions from anybody? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's all for my committee, Mayor Bell.
Thank you very much, Councilman Lobos. Public Safety Committee, Councilman Nelson.
Thank you, Mayor. Tab 8, item A is RFP 200904, towing services.
I'll move it.
Second it. It's been properly moved or seconded. Any comments or questions? Mayor?
I'd like to point out to the public that this item has not been out to bid since 2001. And the manager looked at it, I looked at it, and we decided it was time to go out to bid. And the manager has some more details on how this is going to be far more advantageous to the city of Homestead and beneficial in a financial manner, as well as the fact that we needed to go out to bid. And this is just one of the things that since I've become mayor, trying to make sure that everything has an opportunity to go out to bid. And when you're dealing with the city dollars, that everybody should have the opportunity to bid every once in a while, unless it's a sole source. So, Mr. Manager, I'm sorry, Tim.
Mr. Manager, can you...
Mr. Chair, council members, actually just before I go to this bid, I want to give credit to the chief and his staff.
Yes.
Because when you start talking to staff about, you know, challenging them to come up with ideas and stuff for the city, and also to streamline operations and make sure everything is up to date, the chief brought to my attention that the towing services we have in the city, being with the same vendor for a long time, we didn't go out for bid, and that's not something he was not really comfortable with. And also they did some work, him and his staff, to look what other cities are doing in terms of this in the county. And practically everywhere you go, they have towing services, and a part of the towing services is an administrative fee, because it takes a substantial amount of time from the police department or code enforcement to make sure things are done. So there is an administrative fee that costs the city, and normally they recover that fee, the cities. And before we bid this thing, this service out, again the chief, working with our city attorneys, revised the ordinance to allow this to be bid out, and also to allow more than one vendor and add the administrative fee. Based on our towings done for last year, $30 administrative fee will generate in excess of $60,000 revenues to the city, and that's practically, even though it shows as a revenue, but it offsets expenses to the taxpayers, because the police department is paying for it. Now it's going to recover it. With this time, when we went out for the bid, we again, the chief, based on the chief's recommendation, which I concur with, we want to have more than one vendor to be able to rotate and provide faster service and reliable service. That's why you see 2 vendors there, and with your approval, we're going to move forward to negotiate contract with both vendors.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
I just wanted to commend them. Chief, I think that having 2 vendors was a really good idea. I just thought that was excellent.
That's, in business, you have to do that. You have, if one's not on time, you have to have, someone to be able to come up and help you out, and so you're not spending more time standing on scene, waiting.
Absolutely. That's excellent.
I think it's very good.
And when I see who's on the committee, I guess I don't have to worry too much, since it's Lewis, Captain Chung, and Captain Washington. I guess we can rest assured that the committee, we're in good, safe hands there.
Yep.
Thank you, Councilman Nelson.
Thank you. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Manager, do you have anything for us?
Mayor, Council, I just want to inform you one thing here and make sure I don't have objection. I don't really think I need approval, but I don't have objection. A few weeks ago, I brought some items in front of you for auction to be able to sell some of the stuff. And one of the things when we went lobbying or we talked to the community, we said with our computers, the computers we are trying to get rid of, even though for business they become practically obsolete, they are not very efficient, but for personal use or for non-profit, they are still very good computers. So we asked Jerry to look at all of these computers and see what can be salvaged, and give priorities to SOS and Weed and Seed, and see if they need some computers. And also we had some interest from Art South. They need 10 computers, which we have available. Galata 6, and in Familia 5. I can't tell you when you go sell these computers, they practically bring nothing. But giving it to these entities, the non-profit entities, is going to be a great thing for the city of Homestead. So with no objections, I'm going to move forward with this.
Mr. Manager, I love that. And these nonprofits, all 3 of these nonprofits deal with children. They have summer programs. They're dealing with after-school youth, so I'm very delighted that we're going to be giving. And I think that it's far more valuable to be donating them within the community than it is to even try to sell them for any type of salvage. So very good.
Thank you, Mayor. And I don't want to, but I don't want to put Jerry on the spot, but I'm putting him on the spot. How many more we have?
Mayor, Council, we could probably pull out another 10 or 20 computers that I would say are in decent shape. Everything other than that, they're in pretty bad shape, so I wouldn't want to put them out to the public.
Thank you. And I know that we've already talked with the Police Athletic League and the SOS, and they're already taken care of, I'm sure, with the after-school programs. Okay. So that's a good notification to the community. And my preference would be for anybody that has after-school programs or programs that they're doing with children. And I know that even Galata has, they deal with senior citizens and children. And we like to see the senior citizens be able to log on and use email, and utilize email so we thought that'd be a good way for some of them to communicate. So thank you very much for that. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my business.
Thank you. Anything for us, Ms. Waldman?
Yes, I'm sure many of you have heard, you've seen on television, you've read in the paper that I have had, there was a YouTube video on YouTube, and it has been on there for over a month. It's been taken down. I was told today by the state attorney's office that we're very close in finding out who did this, and if anybody knows anything at all about anything, that they are encouraged to call the state attorney's office. They can contact Patty, and Patty can let me know, and I'll be happy to call you back, and I'll give you a direct line. Thank you.
Councilman McCormick?
No, ma'am.
Councilman Lobos?
No business.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have business. I have been concerned quite a bit lately of a particular newspaper that I think is, some of the articles have bordered, if they're not slanderous, they have bordered on slander. I've spoken with the manager about it, I've spoken with our attorneys about it, and it was recommended that I bring it to the council. But I want to, first of all, let me commend that on this whole Confederate flag issue, that's, like I said, 7 months old and blown completely out of proportion for, I believe, for political agenda and political purposes. One paper has consistently gotten it wrong, and one paper has purposely and purposefully inflamed the headlines, and that's the South Florida Times, and the reporter is Elgin Jones. So I would like to ask the attorneys and instruct the attorneys to look into the possibility of a lawsuit against the South Florida Times it's libel, it's in print, but it's been very slanderous. We have given very direct quotes, and the direct quotes that we have given, we look at those quotes, we give them to them, and then when we get the paper, we see the headlines are the exact opposite of the truth and the exact opposite of the quotes. And so this is happening a lot, and I think the paper is I'm not going to say they're purposely distorting the truth, but there seems to be an agenda there with this paper as well. And so I would like to let council know what my purpose is here, and I would like for us to allow the city attorney to pursue these avenues and see if we do have a case here to pursue.
Mayor Bell, I have a comment.
Yes, Councilwoman.
I actually have looked into an attorney myself out of my personal pocket, because this guy has made several comments about myself and that I made him mad, and so he's coming after me for whatever. But when you live a clean life, you really don't have anything to worry about. So that's what you do. Anyway, a lot of credible witnesses that have spoken to me and said, including a mayor of a neighboring city, that they have witnessed this guy purposely in saying these comments to them. And so what I consulted with our city attorney, he advised me to retain an attorney. And that way he's threatening to put out a lot of false lies about me. And they're false, they're baseless, they're not even close to the truth. So I'm looking into retaining an attorney. Not that I can afford it, because I really don't have that extra money to be paying any attorney, but I will be getting a good attorney, even if I have to take on 2 more clients just to pay that attorney. I will do that, because let me tell you something, I have a 13-year-old son, and if there's nothing else, not wealth, not anything else, it is the heritage that I'm handing down to him, and hopefully he will be a long-time Homestead resident. And that's the reason, Mayor Bell, at the first Homeowners Association meeting that I attended in the Villages, I had my car vandalized. It was graffitied with a bad word on it. Well, I was inside and I filed a police report. And when the local newspaper contacted me to say, we'd like to do a story on this, I said no. You know why? My son lives in that house, and he drives in that vehicle. And I did not want to expose my 13-year-old to that ugliness of our city and of our politics, which exists. It's local politics, it's election year. And so I will not stand by watching anybody go after my reputation, my family, especially when it's baseless. So I am looking into retaining a personal attorney against this guy.
Thank you very much, Councilman Lobos. What we have been doing is Lillian has been going through the papers and the quotes that we've provided and the emails that we've provided, and I'm very serious about this. I'm very serious. It's one thing for a paper to get it wrong and then make a correction. And I noticed that when the newsleader did a story on the HRB dissolution, it was very fair. It was done well. This bit about getting an email in the morning that says, this is what I've been told. If you don't respond to me by 12 o'clock noon, I'm printing exactly what I was told, with absolutely no time to respond. We have it in email. We're going to print what we've been told. Somebody is purposely giving very bad information to the South Florida Times, and some of it's interesting because it looks like it might be coming from somebody around here, and so we have our suspicions, but they're only our suspicions. And also the South Florida Times wrote a story on the fact that five of us are on the Military Affairs Committee, and that somebody told them that we voted on the flag, and the Confederate flag, and the parade, that we voted for it. Of course, we said we're not on any parade committee, we're not on any executive board with general members. It's been no secret. And then we gave them the truth. We told them, exactly the parameters. The Military Affairs Committee did, the Chamber did, the headlines. 5 council members serve on committee that approves the flag. It just didn't matter what we said, and then in the body of the article, in the text, it actually has the other people saying that, no, we don't. But it doesn't matter if all you read is that title, that's exactly what you're going to walk away with. So I've about had enough of it, and I'm not going to put up with it. So it's one thing for paper to get it wrong and then correct itself, and it's another thing for paper to purposely print what I consider to be slander. And I've had enough of it, but quite frankly, it does make me realize that everything that I've suspected about this flag issue being politically motivated, everything I've suspected, it confirms it. Just the agenda in the paper confirms everything I've said. And I know this is a committee of the whole meeting, and it's no cameras, but anybody who ever listens to this meeting, I want to thank the community members, because the NAACP coming and attacking us, I mean, the Herald got it right, and they said they don't get it why they would even attack the city of Homestead when we have nothing to do with the separate organization's parade. The Herald got it, the newsletter gets it, obviously the South Florida Times doesn't get it, so it's really good, but it just confirms this to us over and over again, how the politics here, but we aren't going to put up with this. And so I commend you, Councilman Lobos, for contemplating hiring an attorney. I have actually considered that myself, and so we will see what happens with this. Thank you. And so I guess I'm getting...
I would like to have a statement to read. After the article was produced in last Sunday's paper, Ms. Waldman brought me and my family into this mess. It is unfortunate and disturbing that a video of this nature would be produced about any Homestead resident, particularly an elected official. After the video was brought to my wife's attention, she bookmarked it to show me. That's all there was to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, may I speak?
Certainly.
Mr. Nelson, I did not bring your wife into this situation. There's a full-blown investigation right now going on. It was on the internet. It was on YouTube. People had seen it. The Herald reporter saw it. Everybody that's contacted me has seen it, the state attorney's office. So I am very sorry if you feel that I brought your wife into this. I did not. And I don't know how it got on YouTube as being one of her favorite videos, but it was there. And it said my favorites.
Councilman Nelson?
When you bookmark something, that's what it says. But after the reporter talked to me Thursday, she told me she had talked to you, and my wife talked to your husband that night at the thing and told him how appalled she was of this video. That's all. It was nothing that we were trying to hurt you. We just viewed it as you did, as David Suarez called all of his friends, Katie Edwards, and that's how my wife found out about this.
Well, I will accept your apology. If there was no intention as far...
I didn't apologize. I'm going to get that straight.
I'll put that on the record.
I had nothing to do with this.
Fine.
I viewed it. That's all we did, as everybody else.
Yes, everybody else.
Okay?
Everybody.
Thank you very much. With that, there's no more business to attend to. This meeting is adjourned.